Hello, and welcome to day 4 of Dungeon 23. Uh, in the previous episode, we made a little hallway with a trap. Very simple crossbow trap. Open the door, it'll shoot at you. If you don't want to get shot, just open the door slowly. And today we'll be looking at the locked metal door. This is the third way to go. The first thing we want to do is give it an actual DC to lockpick it. It is a door on the first level of the dungeon. It's like the third door you could see. Uh, so it's not going to be super hard to pick. The other DC is 14, so we should probably just make this DC. DC. Let's make it 16. Let's make it DC 16. I think that's a pretty good... That should be a pretty good difficulty challenge. Thieves. Tools. So, now the difficulty, let's make the actual layout of the room. It should be a pretty small room. A very simple room. Two doors. We will leave this top one open, but I want to put... First, let's... Layer... Map layer... Map layer. We're going to put a little wooden door. This one is going to be unlocked. Or maybe it will be locked. We're going to rotate around and then come back to it in a few episodes and see what we think about it then. The small room, and what are we going to put in it? I think now is a good time to make our own monster. The DMG, or not DMG, yeah, the DMG and the monster manual, and of course, Volo's Guide have some great monsters, and I think they're great to base other monsters off of, because when you use them, sometimes not only is like difficulty the challenge rating rather of monsters in the official books tends to be a bit off, tends to be very inaccurate and not very useful for our purposes. So we're going to make our own monster. And to start with that, we're going to need a character sheet for it. So here we have our monster. This was a monster I made a couple days ago because I wanted to have it somewhere in the dungeon. The idea is that it is a very slow hard-hitting monster that's going to act more of a... It's going to act more like a obstacle than uh, than an actual like thing that's attacking the party. It's designed to um, cut off routes, make it hard to pass it, kind of be like a little timer for certain rooms. Um, and here's a brief rundown. It is haunted armor, not quite animated armor. It's basically the same idea. Um, but this one is more so like take the animated armor that's in the monster manual and just take it to the nth degree. It's a medium construct, unaligned, as one would expect. Armor class 14, down from 18 because I want the party to be able to actually hit this thing because how bad its dex is. Hit points is 60, 68 plus 24. So it's pretty tanky to fight a party. Speed 10, very, very slow. Most players have a speed of over 30, including dashing, so they're going to be able to outrun it. It's eventually going to catch up if the party doesn't know where they're going, or they get trapped in a dead end. Strength, pretty good at 16. Dex, really bad, because it's a very slow-moving, clunky suit of animated armor that's haunted. Constitution, pretty high. Intelligence, wisdom, and especially charisma are really low as the construct. It's not really alive, it's just this haunted armor. Strength, the constitution saves, obviously. It is resistant to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. Meaning those things are half damage. If you stab it with a dagger and you do 4 damage, it only takes 2. From non-magical sources, though. So if you find a magic dagger, then it's still going to do damage. Immunity to poison and psychic, that's pretty standard for constructs. No real damage vulnerabilities. Can't really think of anything that would make sense for it to be vulnerable. Maybe cold or necrotic. I'm not too sure. Well, because haunted, so maybe not. Skills, athletics, pretty basic, just so it doesn't make sense to be grappled super easily. Condition immunity, charmed, exhaustion, frightened, and poisoned. That makes sense. Because it doesn't have blood, it can't be poisoned. It's not really conscious, so it can't be frightened or charmed. And exhaustion, it's just a suit of armor. It doesn't get tired. Blind sight. Basically, if you're within, it can't really see, but actually, let me correct that. So that way, if you're like further than 30 feet from it, it just can't see you. It might have an idea of where you went, but it's not. Like I said, it's more of like an obstacle. It's not going to actively pursue the party too much. Really low passive perception. It can't really speak because it's not really conscious. And these are 2 little special abilities, or rather, disadvantages I gave it to it. One's an advantage, one's a disadvantage. Slow start. I like giving this to large enemies, or enemies that attack in groups. Basically, you have disadvantage on initiative rolls. So when you roll a d20, it's not only -2 because it's going to go less than a turn. It's also going to be a disadvantage. And wind up. The haunted armor has advantage on creatures who have not moved in the current round of combat. So if somehow you end up with rolling really, really badly, or if you choose not to move, then he has advantage. All you need to do is move and it's back to normal. And it's a simple 1 attack. it's a claymore. There's a bit more damage than a regular greatsword. +5 to hit, 5 reach, slash damage. I was considering giving it a thing where if it hits, you have to make a strength save to avoid getting prone. I think this is good enough because at the level the party is, this might just outright knock them down or kill them. Well, not kill them, maybe kill them. So that'd be a bit hat on a hat, you know, a bit too excessive. Um, and this is going to be the creature we're going to put there. Uh, Let me go back to the thing here, and we'll place them down. Alright, and we're back over here. I have this little basic token you get from like the monster manual. We're just gonna drag and drop them over. There is a way of tying tokens to character sheets in Roll20, but I like to have all my character sheets for NPCs in my Google Docs because I like my personal... I like the way my character sheets work because I made it so I know where things are, and I can like format it the way I want to and it just makes sense for me. But this is our guy. He's just going to be standing here. So, my idea is that it's standing there, and it kind of has its foot up on like a treasure chest, and you could simply just push him over to get inside the treasure chest. And once he's knocked over, then combat is kicked off. So that way, it doesn't get activated unless the party like does something to get it. But it also teaches the party that like, you know, things are out there that you don't want to maybe mess with. DC. Let's see. Well, his athletics was +5, so let's say DC 13. So 3d8 gold pieces, 4d10 silver pieces, and 5d20 copper pieces. Quite a lot of treasure for like first or level or first or second level. But keep in mind you're like basically pissing off this thing here. And so that's enough treasure to like kind of make, like if a peasant had that kind of treasure, they'd be like super set for a while. Like they're good for a while, like probably their entire life, maybe a few generations. But is the party going to be content to just go through like 2 rooms, maybe 3 rooms, and then find treasure and then give up then when they know that this thing goes on forever? Probably not. Because there's also like the meta aspect of why are you even here if you don't want to play the adventure, you know? So giving them a lot of treasure up front isn't going to be too bad. Uh, but it also kind of makes this thing follow you through the rest of the dungeon, or until you find a way to like destroy it or fight it or deactivate it. Um, which we will probably make a way of doing so in a later episode. Uh, that being said, if you have any suggestions for other rooms, or if you have any suggestions for what other things could do that's been in a room before, let me know. And Yeah, I apologize for the poor quality, but it is not going to improve.